I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. This morning I wanted to use the welder and I had to change out the plug before I could do it. This old plug that I originally put on it matched the outlet that I had before. Now I mounted a coil of wire. I'm going to be using Flux Core wire. There's a little plastic rock or tube here that I want to feed the wire through. That guides the wire up to the spool. And I need to have the wire into the groove. And then on into the tube on the other side. The trick is to get the wire to feed into that little tube. Okay, now I've got it going into the liner. Got a bird's nest over here on the spool. I'm not real happy about that. But we'll just have to see what happens. I'm going to take the tip out because I want to feed the wire through, and I don't want to have this tip at the end stall the wire. Not so much of a problem with the steel wire, but with aluminum wire, it just, if it stops for any reason, it'll ball all up and you'll have a huge mess right here because it's going to try and feed wire into that tube and won't be able to make it, and it'll just bend it and start feeding it out the side. So now I'm going to turn the welder on. While I'm holding the trigger, it's going to feed wire through until it comes out this pig handle, or until it comes out this handle. I can feel it. There it stopped. Something caused the wire to stop feeding. Now it could be that I have a kink on the end of the wire could be to reach this handle and stop. Had a little kink in the tube. And there the tip of the wire comes out. Now the welder turned off. Definitely turned off. I'm going to come around here and slide the tip back in. Why do I say with the welder turned off? Because see this little tip here? It's kind of sharp. And if I'm doing that little operation and I'm sliding that on, and I by accident hit the trigger, it will feed that wire out. And I have it on good authority, it will run it right through the skin of your hand and out the back side just like a sewing machine. And if you have just been running the welder and the tip of the wire is hot, it will cauterize on its way through and you'll have a nice little piercing in your hand that you really didn't want to have. Well, now we have flux cord wire loaded into the machine and we're ready to make a weld. Because I'm doing a test, I don't need to have good material, I'm just using a piece of scrap. I connect the ground cable. And while I'm wearing a welding helmet, some of the things that bug me is when people don't wear their PPE. I'm not wearing gloves, okay? I'll give you that. I'm not wearing gloves. I'm doing a test strike. But you always wear a welding helmet. And the reason I say that is that I worked as a welder for a number of years. When I was 35, I needed glasses. I went to the optometrist and he said, "Oh, you're a welder." I said, "How'd you know?" He said, "I can see the spots on the back of your eye where the weld has been focused on the back of your eye and burned your retina. You have little white dead spots all over the back of your eye." And I thought, wow, that's not good. He said, "Yeah, we see that in welders a lot. They get flashes and each one of those flashes is a spot where your eye burned. That's why it stays for a minute after the flash goes away, you can still see the dot. Yeah, that's your eye saying, oh God, I got a dead spot." So wear your welding helmet. I have a cord run. That is a symptom of a cord run. When I'm striking an arc on that. When I'm striking an arc on the ground clamp and I'm not striking an arc on the part, means this is not connected. The thing I need to do is get myself an active connection. Since I have a grinder right here, we'll just use that grinder to create one. Now we should have contact. Since this is flux cord wire, I don't have to worry about having the proper stick out to make sure that I've got the wire inside the gas envelope as it's doing the welding. because the flux core wire generates its own flux and its own shielding gas. But I don't want to have it out too far, otherwise what's going to happen is the wire is just going to burn off. Turn the welder on. Running a little hot for that thin plate. I'm doing what's called triggering, which is just basically running a series of spots. Because it doesn't heat up the plate as much. The slower you run the wire, the less current. Got it down just about to zero. We're still burning through. So this thinner plate, with this welder, I'm going to just have to trigger everything. When I don't get an arc, I'm going to trim off that extra wire. Okay, I have a working welder. Now I haven't hooked up the gas. I'm going to only use the gas when I'm running something that I'm really fussy about, or if I'm welding aluminum, because I'm running argon gas. I need to get a CO2 bottle, and I need to hook up the gas for running solid core wire. Solid core wire gets a higher deposition rate, and it doesn't have all the spatter and flux that I've got from flux core wire. But flux core wire is good for general purpose use, especially in any place that has any amount of airflow. Because airflow will blow away the shielding gas and cause it to not shield, and you'll get a big old spattery weld. So, this is the Chicago Electric Dual MIG Welder, MIG 151. Today it worked. I don't know how long it's going to last. I've had it almost 5 years and never hooked it up. Just never needed it. Bought it because it was on sale. Got it at a hell of a deal. And said, well, if I ever want to weld aluminum, I'll have a welder that I can do it with. Never needed to. If you have any suggestions for a new video, or questions about today's video, or any of the other videos in the series, just drop a note in the comments below. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.